Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time may be, whenever you're watching this. I am just showing you sort of like more progress of doing this solar collector thing. So part of the deal, I need to make 18 subtiles for the individual collectors. So this is my first attempt at making a template. Was this? I went with a sort of like a half circle kind of approach, but I put it right at the apex here, right at the halfway point of the circle. So what ended up happening was, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's not completely flush. Like there's a little bit of a like it teeter-totters a little bit. I mean, it's not much, but it is there. So when you're trying to get the, you're squeezing every ounce of precision out of this thing, that's an area where the improvement. So the next design I did, I went with a V-shape groove for the lining pin, so that way I can use this to dance around the outside. I can use this by itself to mark that out, and then I can just put this on here. And then also I added this little bit here so that I can add some weight to keep it, stationary. And just to be as cheap as possible, I left some big areas open, so that way I can conserve all my filament. But like this one here, like you kind of really want to push really hard on these very splines, whereas this one, the added surface area, you shouldn't need to add so much pressure on here to keep it from shifting, because that's the problem. Like once you put it on here, and if it shifts at all when you're marking it, that's gonna be bad. Whereas this one here, it's more locked in there, so that's what we're going for. So anyway, so much for template explanation. Oh no, one more thing about the template is I don't know how this looks on this camera. I'm not used to this top-down view thing, but I put these reliefs in there in the corners of the triangles. And when you're dealing with 3D printing technology, you got to like overcome some of its limitations. So because the nozzle moves and has to turn in a different direction and go this way, you're kind of printing the diameter of the nozzle always on the part. So when you have areas where you have sharp turns and radiuses, sometimes they're not very precise. Go figure. Otherwise, they're perfectly dead on. So the flat areas are perfectly aligned, so that's fine. And then when it gets closer to it, these little elbows, little edges here, if I would have just made this dead straight, there's a chance that it would have a little, like it won't completely stay flush. It won't be completely flush. There'll be material in its way. So I just sorry to interrupt this video, but I really appreciate everybody who shows up and gives me a watch, and a thumbs up really helps the channel. I'm just a starting creator. If you find this kind of like chaotic DIY stuff interesting, maybe drop it a subscribe. Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna let you get back to the video now. Just deleted the material here and here. I'm relying on the faces of here. That makes for a great alignment. Also, I don't know if you can see or not, but I put a little notch right there, and that way that will show up when I'm marking the perimeter. And because I want to have a seam going this direction, So the flaps can kind of come up, turn 90 degrees, obviously. So that little notch, when I make that notch, that would be the point where I want to make a crease. So anyway, so what do we want to use? We have a pen, we have a marker, and we have a pencil. I'm between a pencil and a pen, but I'm just going to be lazy and use the pen. This one I might want to sharpen. I guess it would make a little bit more, what's the word? Sharper edge, or a finer tip. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's use the pencil. And like I said, this is actually more of a lead holder. And each one of my writing devices, I went with a plastic kind of thing. This is a plastic body, plastic, just for lightweightness. This one does have a little bit of a metal in the end, but it doesn't add a whole lot of weight. Like if you get like a super heavy duty pen, you're going to be adding a... Oh, hello, Oliver. Coming into the video. It's Oliver there. Alright, so we gotta take our tip, just the tip, and we can sharpen it. Yeah, the only thing I don't have on here is an eraser. So that probably should come, but whatever. That's not that big a deal. Makes me think, yeah, I'm gonna add an eraser to my EDC setup. We're gonna have one more thing to carry. Alright, so there's our tip. We're good. Also, like when I make the outer perimeter and I want to have these two spaces, I can just come back with a straight edge and fix that. So this is the Dippin' Cup dividers. It's just a very heavy duty craft paper, and I have tons of this stuff. So this is going to start forming the basically outer skin. And one of my earlier prototypes, I just cut straight lines, and so you can see how I got like seams here, like that. You can see another one, a line down here, and I put several several staples. And anytime you put a hole through your material, it's a point where you can introduce some water. So with this little bit of angle to it, you get, I don't know if you can see it very well on there or not, but there's a line here, but it's an overlap. So whereas this is not an overlap, it's just kind of like buttoned together. So higher potential for ingress of water, and we don't want that. So not good, but good for prototype, I guess. This one, it didn't completely, like it's what I was going for. This one warped. Maybe you can see that. I don't know. This panel warped, but the flaps, they didn't quite stay seated. I ended up putting like tape on there like this to try to like squeeze it. Not very good. So I went out and got just some basic, paper clips and some binder clips. They seem to work really well. So once I put the glue on there, I can use the paper clips to kind of hold them together, hold the two flaps together. And the glue isn't really strong enough to, hold on to the paper clip. So once it dries, I can easily pull this away from it, and you get a nice, very tight seal going across there. So anyway, something else here. So we kind of want to center it, but there's two spots. There's like this one here and this one here. See, it's a little bit off the edge. So you want like this and like this. So now we can, if we would have got two out of here, I would have scooted it over, but I can only get one in here, so there's no point in really trying to, get to, so they just put pressure on here. Alright, not too bad. Alright. So even though this table was virtually crap, I don't want to make it more crap, so I got a little cutting board here. Actually, I guess we can wait for that for a second. We want to fix these. Looking pretty good. Another thing is we got to put the area where we're going to have to fold. You'll see. I don't know, I can't explain it. Okay, so now we have our 6 dotted lines for creases. So between here and here is going to be a crease, and then a crease here, the whole thing. And then we're going to cut here, cut like this, all the way around. And then we'll start creasing, making folds. I gotta hold it up and then push the thumb in there with the, if I do this, I'll just fall out. Gotta use gravity for that. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's sharp enough. Look at this. Sexy. Another thing is I have a technique for a scoring technique. So like, if you have any line like that, and you're trying to line it up, well, that actually worked out pretty good. But I had an idea where you have a line, you could take the back part of the knife, and you could just basically press in there like that, so it doesn't cut all the way through it, but it just allows it to find that crease very well. So you gotta do that to all the sides. And I don't know what the fuck happened to my microphone. I guess it died or something. I don't know. I'm still new at this fucking YouTube shit. Whatever. So I just folded up the sides and let's see here. There's my glue, and I'm just gonna start gluing up some of these corners here. This is a brownie divider. It's a little bit thicker than the dipping cup divider, so it's a heavier weight cardboard, and it's what I'm going to be using for making the inserts. I wish I can get two out of here, but I can't, so I can only get one. So I'm just going to kind of put it in the center for that. Yep, there's one traced out. I'm gonna cut this hexagon. Hexagon's the bestagon, right? Is that what they say? I don't know. Alright, now I cut out one of the inserts. Test fitting it right now. So, yep, that seems to be good. Now I can make another one. I want to make 2 layers of this cardboard, and I was thinking about using that same brownie divider for the perimeter, but I'm opted for just going straight for the thicker cardboard, like the pepperoni box, and I want to do 2 walls around the outside. This is an insert that I have an idea for. Still trying to figure that out. It has a parabolic curve to it, and so I was thinking if I can put this in here somehow, and then form the aluminum to the curve, that would give me the parabolic for each one of these sub panels. I did a second hexagon for the inner, I guess it'd be the first layer. I have 2 layers for the hexagon, and now I'm working on the outer perimeter, and it's made out of like the pepperoni box type material, so it's much thicker, but it's still pretty light. It's cardboard after all. So I'm trying to, right here, I'm just working up the edges. So I'm just going to fast forward a bunch of this stuff because it's kind of boring, tedious work, but you'll see. And what I'm doing here is after I get all the fine measurements down, right, I write a template on these so that way I can easily make more. But it turns out my template, when I was finally done with this whole operation, ended up probably got to redo it again. So yay, but that's the concept. So do the hard work as far as lining up all the edges once, and then you make a template so that way you can easily repeat it. So kind of take a lot of the guessworks out of it. So I'm gonna speed a lot of this stuff up now. So what I got here is my couple templates, and these aren't the right one. I'll have to redo these again because they were slightly off, but that's the idea, is make some templates and you can speed the process up, because this whole video would have been an hour long if I didn't edit anything down, so yay for me. So what I'm doing now is I made sure I waited till every piece was cut and was test fit first, so that when I do the glue up, that it would all set at the same time, so hopefully prevent any of the warpage, so we don't want that. So I got them all cut and set in place, like, to make sure that everything's pretty much aligned the way I want it to be. And so I'm gonna go ahead and take all these clips off and glue it all up. So that's it for now. I got it all glued in place. I have a little hexagon, little weight there. Just so happened that it worked great. So that's gonna hold the center down so it doesn't warp when it dries. And I just gotta do this about 17 more times. But I also gotta figure out the whole parabolic dish on each individual sub panels. So I'm not quite done with this yet. I'm more or less focusing on my building technique, as far as, you know, making it repeatable and rigid and all that good stuff. So yep, that's what I got for now. I'm gonna go clean up all my mess, clean up my brushes, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.